Site safety inspections in the building and construction industry are critical to the safety of all workers. The ever-changing nature of the workplace demands that these inspections occur regularly. They're most effective when representatives of both management and employees are involved. The role of elected health and safety representatives is central to modern health and safety practice. This ensures that each party can genuinely have a say and ultimately come to an agreement on effective measures to control site hazards. It also helps in monitoring the implementation and effectiveness of job safety analyses or safe work method statements. Enforcing documented control measures, especially among contractors and their employees, is crucial to effectively managing health and safety on site. In this DVD, you'll see the site safety inspection process on 2 construction sites by accompanying the site manager and health and safety representative on a routine safety walk.
The scope of the work on this particular project is 2 buildings in their entirety, right through to fit out. We also have a car park deck around about 6,500 square metres, post-tensioned, and precast columns. The buildings are basically precast with steel erection and roof, and then infill and through to fit out.
I'm checking the site on a continual basis. I walk around daily, constantly checking for hazards. We do an official site walk with the management once a week, and all those issues get noted, documented, then issued to the various contractors. They then put right what is wrong, whether it be immediate, whether it be a priority or a routine.
90% of the time we agree, and 10% of the time we sort of impartial, but we usually find a solution somewhere in between.
The inspection begins at the site entrance. Safe access for vehicles is a matter of concern.
Well, I'm looking at the holes, Tal.
Yep.
Yesterday those holes weren't dug.
No.
And the paraweb was fine. Barrier tape, today I think we should be putting in paraweb.
Yeah, I think we should put some paraweb around them now.
The only problem I see is we've got people that are going to be wanting to walk through this.
Yeah.
And now that we've got these holes that have been dug this morning. So
I think we'll get Scotty on the radio now.
Alright, as in cubes.
Scotty, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Can you paraweb these holes at the side of the entry, mate?
Peter and Terry have noticed an excavator fitted with a quick hitch device which hasn't been secured with a retaining pin. Quick hitch devices are used for removing and attaching equipment like alternative buckets. These devices have been known to fail, causing the bucket to fall onto workers in trenches. WorkSafe Victoria has warned the industry about this hazard.
What we do, Paul, is like we told you once or twice about the pin. We're not going to keep telling you. We'll bring it up in a toolbox again, and we'll take it from there. Right. If it's a failure, I'll deem it unsafe, and then we'll just cease you working. All right? With everyone working around you, all the blokes here in the holes, etc., the right thing to do would be to put the pin in. If you've got a problem with that, we'll get a labourer to do it for you. Okay?
No worries.
All right, thanks for that.
In this situation, no worker should be allowed to work within reach of an excavator or rock breaker, and the mechanical locking pin must be used to prevent an uncontrolled release of a fitting. There's a need to inspect the plumber's oxyacetylene kit to make sure all the appropriate safeguards are in place. Peter and Terry discuss the safest positioning of the flashback arresters. Current policy is now to prescribe flashback arresters on both the regulator and the handpiece ends.
The hoses do blow.
Yep.
Or there's a flashback. There's nothing really stopping it from going back in here.
Yep, okay.
You'd be happy though putting the flash arresters on this end rather than the handset?
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of plumbers say they want them there, and then we get into a discussion or a debate on the pros and cons of having them on the handset or the bottles. I just think they should be up here.
Well, it makes sense.
They get less damage, and that's where they should be.
Yeah, well, especially if the hose gets damaged or anything like that, basically.
All right,
Sort that out.
so we're in agreement. We're going to move the flash arresters.
Yep, yeah, I'll do that now.
A routine inspection of the precast panels is conducted.
No, there's one, that's better.
Yeah.
Each panel must have 2 braces with permanently fixed identification plates which display the supplier or manufacturer, the model type or designation, and open and closed safe working capacity in kilonewtons. Peter and Terry are concerned about the use of a bent nail to secure the brace. Brace locking pins should be provided with retaining devices to prevent the locking pin dislodging. The retaining devices should require the use of either a special tool or a key to remove them.
Improve the safety pin and the nail procedure.
Yep, that's no good like that. It's all been tested up there.
And we need the star caps.
Yeah, I was going to say it there today. Needs a...
Rio caps do the same. Access to double do foam.
Just put a cap on that.
Plus Rio caps. That's it. Job's done.
Put that one on there. It's quite nasty, that one.
There's an overall concern about public safety. Concrete trucks and other construction vehicles need to enter the worksite via a bus station, potentially putting the public at risk. The Occupational Health and Safety Act places a particular emphasis on public safety. There's also a problem with the trenching activity. An electric pole has been undermined by the excavator, posing electrical and falling hazards for the workers on site, as well as the general public.
Right, Lance, what are we going to do about this pole? Is it isolated?
Yeah, it's isolated back at the board. So while we're digging, and then we're going to backfill with concrete today. So in case it rains tonight, we'll, we won't have a problem of it falling in and maybe ripping out some cables or something like that.
How far up does the concrete come?
I'll probably come down close to the bottom of it, and then we might put a couple of poles in there to prevent it from sliding out sideways. We'll fix it up and then put the power back on for the night, so the people at the train station are right to go.
You've got the electrician.
We've got the electrician sorted out, so he knows he's got to flick it back on.
The weather is deteriorating. A rainstorm is on the way. There's concern about moving precast columns in windy conditions. Peter and Terry raised the need for a job safety analysis or safe work method statement to control the task of transporting and standing the columns.
What do you think, Peter? It's not quite what they...
It's not what they spoke about in their JSA.
No.
The fact that they're now lifting a column rather than a panel, I don't like the way the weather's picking up either with all the wind.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll call the foreman, cease the function for now, call the foreman over, find out what's happening.
I think we should get Andy then.
Yeah, I want the opinion of the crane operator as well on the weather conditions to see if it's suitable to still continue lifting columns with this wind. It's picking up, that's for sure. All right, I'll go get him.
The job safety analysis outlines the steps involved in the task, identifies the hazards at each stage, assesses the risk, and stipulates the control measures to be adopted. On this site, the JSA is developed by the subcontractor supervisor and their employees.
I want his opinion on the weather, like for the wind speed, the franner, how it's going to operate with the wind.
I don't think
and the columns.
The wind's not a problem with it because the surface area of the columns is a lot smaller than what the panels is. We won't have the amount of difficulty on the face of it. So because they're a relatively small area, they're not too bad to handle.
Let's make this column safe.
Right.
Cease what you're doing. We'll get everyone over to the conference room.
Right.
And we'll perform that JSA. Yeah, thank you.
The other thing on the wind, I've got a feeling we'd call the wind before you would, because it's not going to get so windy.
Peter is concerned that the current JSA doesn't cover the procedure used to erect the columns. There's no separation between the function of physically locating and securing the column and the actual control of the load by the crane.
We're both actually physically placing the column, as in bending down. So I'm just wondering who'd then be in control of the crane, as in giving instructions to the crane.
Well, that's the difference between that's a dogman's job or a rigger's job is to have a whistle.
Industry practice is that all signals to crane drivers must be given only by workers who are holders of a national high-risk work licence issued by WorkSafe. In accordance with site policy, Peter and Terry inspect a self-propelled boom lift, which has obviously seen better days. This plant should clearly not be in service due to operational defects. An operator's daily checklist system has been instituted on site. This is in accordance with the OH&S regulations, which state that an employer must ensure that hazards associated with plant are identified and controlled.
Monday morning, we'll sit down before we start work and we'll just have a big group discussion on what we require. What we require, okay?
Movement of powered mobile plant and the use of such high access equipment are recognised areas of high risk work for the construction industry.
I don't know if that's oil from an oil filter. There is excess oil. This one here, that's the oil filter. I don't know if that's been replaced or leaked.
That is leaking from up in here, guys.
Is it?
It's just absolute oil up there. No, it doesn't.
I'm writing. Fuel leak. There's no obvious fuel. That's not a, that's not a 10-year test.
10-year test.
Operation of the boom is ceased immediately and the equipment tagged not for use. Having viewed the site safety inspection process on a site in the early stages of construction, we now move on to a multi-storey project.
We're nearly completion stage. It's basically a 7-level 44 apartment building. We're at the fit out stage. We've got probably another month here. Once a week we get together, myself and the safety rep, we go for a bit of a safety walk. Any major issues, any height safety problems we come across, we go over it and make sure everything's up to code and safe.
On this safety walk are Duncan Knight, site manager, and Sean Kelly, safety representative. At this stage of construction, Duncan and Sean need to identify high-risk work activities with potential for death or serious injury. Rooftop safety measures include the erection of safety handrails and the marking of a zone near the perimeter designated as potentially unsafe. The possibility of objects falling is an issue of major concern. Gantry protection at the street frontage has been removed the previous day, so there is a heightened need to control risks to public safety. The roof has been designated a no-go zone for all contractors this week, as the painting contractors have to use swing stage scaffolding to paint the side of the building. The installation of rooftop anchorages for future maintenance workers has been brought forward so that workers can also benefit during construction.
They've signed off?
Yep. It's all good.
Lovely.
The upper levels haven't yet been fully fitted out as apartments. Duncan and Sean check the balcony areas closely as there is still extensive work to be undertaken there.
Still secure. We've got, obviously we have to use the KD, Pines unsafe. We've got them up there just while the guys are...
Contractors will be using work platforms such as step ladders and scaffolds and risk falling over the edge. Fall prevention measures must be continuous and substantial.
I think we should continue this handrailing around. Just the guys are going to have a tendency to turn the scaffold this way, and it's going to...
We've had some come down from the other side. It's finished off now, so I'll get a couple up here, some KD, and we'll go across to the other side there.
Sounds good.
Come up good.
Beautiful.
The maintenance of safe access and attention to housekeeping on site are always issues which need to be closely monitored.
It looks like the plasterers are done in here. We'll get them to clean this area up. It's a little bit untidy, trip hazards everywhere. And I think we should get rid of these crates. Guys are going to tend to use them for work platforms.
The best way to manage the potential for unsafe work practices is often simply to remove the means. Under the OH&S regulations, sites have always been required to properly manage chemical hazards.
The boys have got the sign on the door there, which is good.
Employers have a special obligation to perform risk assessments on all products classified as hazardous, according to National OH&S Commission criteria. Duncan and Sean review the material safety data sheet for the paint products stored in the room. As the roof is virtually complete, there are no epoxy resin-based products in use, and the MSDSs for the remaining products show that many of them have not been classified as hazardous. They also note that generally the quantities are small and don't present a significant dangerous goods hazard. But the flammable classification of the thinners and gloss enamel products does warrant a number of safety precautions.
Flammable liquids in here. I know they've got the ventilation, but I think we need to get a sign up there as well, just saying do not close or something along those lines. Make sure no fumes build up in here.
Yep. So do not close window and no smoking signs.
That's it.
The site has designated one room for the cutting of medium density fibreboard, or MDF, which presents a significant risk because of the presence of both wood dusts and formaldehyde resins. Formaldehyde is a recognised human carcinogen or cancer-causing substance.
Make sure you got everything okay.
Yeah, everything's good.
You know, you're cutting MDF in here.
Yeah.
This is low formaldehyde, is it?
Yep, for dry areas.
Yep.
So yeah, you got your respirator, safety glasses.
Okay, so you don't have gloves on, mate. You need to grab some gloves.
Recommended hand protection is for butyl or nitrile rubber gloves. A vacuum extraction bag has been fitted to the saw to capture the resinous wood dusts. As with all toxic materials, these dusts need to be captured close to the cutting blade, bagged, labelled and suitably disposed of. The safety inspection is now complete. Despite differences in the type of construction work undertaken on the two sites, the process remains the same. No stage of construction is free of potential safety hazards. Throughout the life of any project, site management must ensure there's a consistent program of regular inspections. As shown by Peter Thomas and Sean Kelly, health and safety representatives are a valuable resource for site management and play an essential role in site safety. But the legal responsibility for health and safety finally rests with the principal contractor. Supervisors who are well trained in OH&S and committed to the elimination of hazards are crucial if the industry is to achieve effective health and safety on all building and construction sites.